Let's see. We're close. Are we live again? Okay, we're now live.
It says, are we in your group or are we on your profile? What's your plan?
We're on my profile. Oh, it looks like it was live. Well, we're going live again.
They call that a live dress rehearsal.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm glad that we just had it. And it's an excellent, I think we're live again. Here we go. Anyway, it says we're live. I believe it. Okay, fantastic. See, that's technology for you. I'm not necessarily prepared, but here we are. If you did miss the song, you have to go back to the other video and watch it again. SOOOO this. She's a really great coach. All right, Sue, thank you.
Version.
This is the more fun version.
Yep.
Exactly. It's a cappella. Doom, 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 doom. Okay.
Eric Clapton, eat your heart out.
Sue, thank you so much for being here. And just for everyone that, oh, thank you. Just so everyone that is here knows, Sue is a video coach, and she has over 14,000 hours of live broadcasting on Australian media. She was a television presenter. She was on the radio as well, becoming the first female DJ in Australia to host a primetime shift on commercial FM radio. She also holds an MA in communication. So if you are tuning into this, she is an expert by all definitions of the word, and she is a fantastic human being. So, and her mission is to help you.
What I want to be most proud of, being called a fantastic human being.
Yeah, and done. You're on it. So, Sue, what is your mission? And who are you out in the world to serve?
My mission is to help entrepreneurs in particular to look, feel, and sound better in videos. And that's pretty much it. Video is, people have been saying video is the future, but the future is here and it's now. And I really believe that 2020 is going to be a pivotal year for video usage in social feeds. It's become a very, very crowded, hot space, hasn't it? Like every couple of minutes you're getting an alert on your phone saying somebody's going live. So where it was once a novelty and you could literally just decide to do a live without any real preparation or forethought to what you were going to say or who you were talking to or where you were or what the light was like or how you looked and get an audience who'd stay listening to you while you waffled on about God knows what. Those days have disappeared. And I really think that this is the year that anybody who wants to use video to grow a business and get people on calls and make money, you're really going to have to look the goods. The word that comes to mind for me at the moment when it comes to marketing is congruence, and to really have cut through, particularly if you're a coach of some sort or you're selling something of high value, a high ticket item. You have to have congruence across all elements in your sales funnel, from the design, the quality of the email follow-up, the copy in your sales letters, your logo, your personal appearance and your videos. All of that has to be really good. It's not going to be enough just to have a killer offer and a really well set out sales funnel if the video that is then appearing in your sales letters and your order bumps is crappy and it's not congruent with the quality of everything else and the level that you're pitching yourself at, the authority that you're trying to establish for yourself, then it won't resonate properly with people. It won't resonate as being authentic, and you won't get that level of buy-in and therefore the conversions and the sales that you want.
Wow. That was so amazingly put and very I'm just like, wow, yeah, it's super accurate depiction of the current state of marketing, especially for coaches and for really anyone who's trying to market their business online.
Mm.
Before we get into kind of like the nitty gritty of how you actually help people to improve their video, I do want to find out, or I would love for you to share just a little bit more about you and how you ended up, you were on broadcast television and then you transitioned to this realm of being a coach yourself. And I'm very interested to hear how that all happened. And then one second before you do that, I'm sorry, we got 5 people on the live. Thank you for being here. If you're here live, go ahead and drop a hashtag Sue Moses is the video coach Moses. I was about to say the video Moses. She's taking you to the promised land of video.
That's the plan, the promised land. We will go to the promised land. Yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead and put down hashtag promised land in the comments. And then
drop some heart bombs as well. We love a heart bomb. I love seeing it.
Yeah, drop the heart bombs for sure.
Yeah.
And
questions. If you've got questions.
If you got questions, put them in there too. All right. But then, sorry to interrupt you, but I just want to say, want to put that out there. All right. Go ahead, Sue. Tell me all about your story. Tell me about your life.
Well, like most people of my certain age, who've had a few decades, not just on the planet walking around, but also walking around in the workforce. I've had a couple of careers, a couple of false starts, a few different things. And like most women, my principal career was, I don't want to say interrupted because that can be it has a slightly negative connotation to it, but it was put on pause, shall we say, for the early years of parenting. And in that time that I paused it, the landscape changed a lot for media in Australia. But taking it a step back from that, I left school at a time when you could pretty much, finish school, go out into the workforce, and there'd be opportunities there for you. So I actually ran away from home, barely 17 years of age, went to this beautiful but incredibly remote country town on the coast of southwestern Western Australia, which is about as far away from anything as you can get, and went through a variety of jobs. But then a group of local businessmen decided that it was a great idea to start a radio station, and so they got, put the funds together, got a license, and then advertised in the local community for people to, get jobs. I thought, might go along and see if I can get a job as a receptionist. And then lo and behold, one training course later, I ended up with a job on air as a DJ. One thing led to another, and I ended up going up to the capital city of WA, which was Perth, to the FM radio station there, which had just opened. So this is early 80s, very early 80s. And FM radio was like brand new on the landscape, and it was the sole thing out there for youth culture, Michael. There wasn't all the plethora of alternatives for entertainment for young people. So it was a big deal.
Yeah. It's a huge deal.
Yeah. And anyway, so I'd always wanted, from the age of I think I was about 10, when I realised that I wanted to go, I had this thing that I wanted to go to Sydney, which is on the East Coast, so a very long way away from the West Coast because Australia is a very big country. And I wanted to go to Sydney. Sydney was the media capital, still is. So my dream at that stage was to be a host of a music television show and to become the first female to have not be a sidekick or a producer, but to have a show in my own right on FM radio. And, a few years of work and, sending off some tapes and trying and talking to people, I eventually achieved that goal and had, that was about 5 years of an incredibly heady and exciting lifestyle. And, got some great tales to tell there. But things started to change then as well, as I think they've done for a lot of industries that were owned and operated by people who had come up through the ranks and were astute at their business and, were astute at their craft, but also astute business people as well. And at that stage, what happened in Australia, you could, if you wanted a radio station or a newspaper or a television station, you could only have one. So it was like pick one and have it, because they were trying to keep a very diverse voice in, across, so that
That's
no one
interesting.
person, they were trying to prevent the Rupert Murdoch type situation, which has since manifested. But anyway, under pressure from big business, they sort of deregulated the business so that you could have more than one form of media. So what happened is these people who'd started radio stations and owned radio stations were selling out very, very big numbers to corporations, who then thought the asset was basically the license and the antenna that they were transmitted through. And they didn't realize that it was actually the people that were the value within the business. And yeah, so, and obviously I think it goes without saying that in radio and television, particularly with presenters, you're dealing with some very sizable egos and a great deal of pride. So a lot of us kind of went like that to the corporate way. And as I say, I didn't just, burn bridges, I detonated some on the way out. So
wow.
And then what happened is then digitization came in and automation. So instead of there being 60 radio stations in one state, because we don't have the same population as America, so there's fewer radio stations. But instead of having a plethora of stations, radio and TV, to go to, they'd still be there, but they were all owned by 2 or 3 corporations, and they'd then network out from the capital cities. So the job pool sort of shrank. So by the time I went back, there were limited opportunities, and I'd a lot of the people that mentored me and believed in me had sort of moved on, retired, or what have you. So that's why I sort of didn't go back to it completely. I did sort of have a foray into the television shopping network world, which I found kind of challenging, because as much as I could talk for an hour, like ad lib for an hour on live television, I found it very hard to not be true, to sell with a sense of integrity for something I didn't believe in. So I'm good at the stuff that I believed in, but if there were products that I didn't feel were aligned with my values, I couldn't do it. So then I had a foray into real estate. I love to do a bit of property investing and flipping and so forth. I know, like a lot, I'll be an agent, I'll become a realtor. And once again, that wasn't, that, because it's a lot of success in any business, Michael, and you know this well too, is the process. You've got to fall in love with the process in order to really become successful at something.
Yeah.
And if you're not in love with the process, it doesn't matter how great your dream and your desire is you won't be able to do the work that's required to attain the jewels at the end. So, and then along the same time, I sort of noticed the power of social news feeds and the algorithm and pixels. I didn't know what they were called at the time, but it was like, how is it that 1 minute I'm looking at, purple handbags, and then the next minute all I see are purple handbags. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I started looking into that, and then I noticed video, and I thought, there's an opportunity here, and people need to have the courage to do it, the confidence to do it, and the ability to do it well. So that's what I've sort of been playing around doing.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing all of that. What an incredible story. Yeah, I'm surprised how long it was. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that's incredible. What a story. No, I mean, I think a lot of people can really resonate, especially with when so obviously you put in a ton of work to get to the level that you were at before you decided to leave for parenting.
I worked it out that I had, before I really got to where I wanted to be, there was a lot of shift work. Like when you started out in those days, you started in country radio stations.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, which is a challenge in and of itself. If you were lucky like I was, you're in a beautiful coastal one. And some of them can be in god awful places, and a lot of them are run by guys. It's still very male dominated here. In those days, they were operated by men. Most of them started out as 15, 16-year-olds who were dying to be a huge success as a breakfast DJ at a capital city marketplace, and it didn't work out for them. And the best they could do, the best they could manage, was to become a general manager in a country station. So if they kind of spotted a bit of talent in you, it was, they had.
There's a little bit of that, like,
yeah,
I wish that I could be you right now.
Well, but anyway, but I mean, all of those things shape you and give you the schooling and that, that you need to survive as you grow up. But anyway, at that time, I spent about 3 or 4 years once I got to Perth, my first capital city station, working all these different shifts, so that I had like 6 different sleeping patterns a week because of the different shifts I was rostered on, for several years. So that messed that. Yeah, anyway, boring. But yeah, you got to do.
There's work to be done.
The work and pay the dues, and
yeah. Okay. Awesome. So it's funny that you. So I was about to make a comment before, about how I actually thought it was interesting how when you went back to it, you found it really challenging because you just weren't truly like aligned with the products that you were promoting all the time. And I think that a lot of people on their work, when they're in that, so it's interesting when people are in that first stage of their career and they're growing and they're trying to reach that momentous position that they are putting in the work for, putting in their dues. Sometimes they're not even aligned to that mission entirely. And then it's super easy to fall off and end up doing something else. So I think it's interesting that you ended up doing something that was like, it was truly aligned to you to be doing video and to be on the air. And like, that was powerful for you. And yet, even when you had reached that level where you had a great opportunity, a great position, there were still things about it that you were like, you know what, this just isn't the same. And my I guess your values kind of shifted slightly towards.
Yeah, I mean, it's and this is part of becoming an adult too, is realizing that you're probably never going to be in a situation work-wise where you can be completely aligned. What did one of the guys that I worked with who I really admired once said to me, Sue, you can't pay your mortgage with integrity. And there's a certain amount of truth to that. And that's what I mean about when I left, like my favorite job, it was such a great bunch of people to work with. And I was doing the shift that I'd always wanted at the station I'd always wanted to be at, and stuff like that. But this whole new management came in, and it just felt so wrong, and some people were being treated very, very badly. And, I did this whole freaking crazy Joan of Arc thing and burnt myself as a sacrifice to these other people. And it's like, it's some, we still got to pay our bills. So it's that finding that fine balance within ourselves where we're being true and authentic to ourselves and what we believe in and being good for other people. But yeah,
It's a balance.
very deep philosophical conversation we've found ourselves in here.
It is. That's how I go fun and figurative, you know. No.
Yeah.
Wow. So, well, thank you for engaging with me in that conversation. We'll make a transition here, a little
Probably a
bit.
good idea.
We'll make a transition. Anyone that is on the air right now, we're here with Sue Moses. You can check out her. What is the free guide that you are offering today to anyone that's watching?
Okay, so this thing that I came up with, right, is like one of the things that I encountered with talking to people, both bricks and mortar professionals and also online entrepreneurs, is when it came to video, is they didn't know what to do when and in what order, and in order to set up and do a video as efficiently and as effectively and as engagingly as possible. So I thought about it, sat down and thought about it one day and sort of came up with this checklist. And this checklist is called the mobile framework, because I recommend that people just don't mess, unless you're already heavily into photography and have a DSLR camera and you know your way around it, just use your mobile phone, okay? So the freebie is a checklist on my mobile framework. So mobile stands for message, open the app that you're recording in. B, which is your background. I is I, how do I look against this background? How do I look in this shot? L for light. And then finally, E for your energy and your enthusiasm. So it just runs through what those components look like, and how, just very briefly, how you can make that work for you. And I kind of liken it to learning to drive. I think is a fabulous analogy for learning, pretty much anything, but particularly proficiency in creating professional-looking videos. Now, most of us, when we learn to drive, have had the benefit of being in cars for quite some time with our parents. So when presented with a set of keys, we know what to do with them, where they go. We know that we have to, start the car first and then do these different things in a certain order so that we can move out into the traffic safely and get to our destination. Whereas for a lot of people with video, it's not the case. And I encounter quite a lot of fairly confident people who think, oh, I'm fine. I can talk to a group of people, and I'm not that shy. I'll be fine. And then they get in front of a camera, their phone, whatever, and they find it's a slightly different experience, which it is. So that's why I created that process. Is if you follow that process in the appropriate order, it will help you to set up a good-looking shot and to speak without waffling or rambling on, and it will give you the best chance of looking good, because it's going back to how we started the conversation, Michael, is to have some cut through and to make the effort and the energy of doing videos worthwhile. They have to be engaging.
Yeah.
Marketers sort of, for a while there, it was just cranking out content was all that mattered. Just content. Those days are kind of gone now. It's sort of quality or quantity, and for it to be quality, it has to be engaging. And there are certain rules for engagement when it comes to a text-based post and when it comes to a video post. And that's what I'm all about, is teaching people how to make engaging video. The stats are you've got less than a second to capture somebody's attention if it's a video in a news feed. So less than a second to get them to slow down their scroll, to hover, to stop on your video. So less than a second to get their attention. 3 seconds to sort of capture it and hold it. And then 10 to 15 seconds in order to share enough to make them want to engage, to stay long enough to connect with you and to start to build that relationship towards them becoming a client.
Wow.
So you don't have any time to waste, I guess, is the message behind that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's those are amazing statistics. Yeah, I don't know if you follow Billy Jean, is
Yeah.
marketing at
Yeah.
all. So he talks
Absolutely.
about similarly, like of grabbing attention and making sure that things are engaging.
Yeah.
He calls it his like boring test. It's like when you're making a video, if at any point you're rewatching your video that you made and you kind of like look away for a second, or you
Yeah.
like go to check your phone, you know that you like aren't being engaging for like
That's
just a
right.
couple seconds, and that's when you lose
Yeah.
people.
Mhm.
And so for him, that was talking more specifically towards like when you're creating advertising, like specifically videos for advertisements.
Mhm.
But it applies to all kinds of video, you know?
Yeah.
And so,
Any kind of content, whether it's text-based or, graphic or a video, is absolutely. And it's like I relate it very much to video on social media feeds, whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram TV or whatever it is,
mhm,
to the early days of cinema and also television. So when moving pictures first came out, people would queue up around the block to watch this grainy, jittery footage of somebody drinking a cup of tea because it
right.
was so novel. But I mean, you look at it now. Look at the hue and cry online when the Game of Thrones producers accidentally let a coffee cup
Yeah,
in the
it's
scene
true.
make it to air. It's like people, our standards, and what we expect have just, and that's what I've noticed on the news feeds is where
Mm,
once upon a time, like even this time last year, you could sit in your car um, and do a video, go live, and people would tune in. But that's not working. That is not working anymore.
mm.
Really, really do have to
So,
start looking very closely at what attracts the human eye, because that's where it starts. That's where engagement starts. Is what
mm.
capturing the human eye.
So before we get into some of this like nitty gritty of talking about what does create engagement, what some of the great characteristics of excellent video,
Mm.
um, so we're talking about how it's super important that you have high quality video, you have a plan, you know exactly what you're going to do. With all of these kind of checks, boxes to check, I'm sure, and for me, even right now, I'm talking to you, I'm like, oh my goodness, all these kind of like fears and like kind of stopping points are coming up in my brain. Like, oh, if it's not good enough, I shouldn't do video. And what would be a way to kind of like reach over that and go beyond that? Or like, where's like the breaking point of just being bold and just putting out video content to kind of increase your self-esteem, and then like creating
Yeah.
amazing content?
Yep. Look, think about the purpose. This is something that I say to my clients is, before you start, you got to think about the purpose of the video. What, is this, know, like, and trust? That's why we do this stuff. Is this to grow your know, like, and trust? Is this for your group? Is this for your profile? Is this for your page? Is this for YouTube? Is it for Instagram TV? Is it for TikTok? What is it? Where are you going to put it? And what is the purpose? Is this to you know, grow your visibility, make you look like an authority? Is it to sell something? Is it to show your humanity? What is the purpose? And then like, what's the point? So in television land, you've got pre-production, which is getting ready for the broadcast. You've got the production itself, which is the broadcast. And then you've got post-production, which is, putting all those bits together that, getting rid of the crappy bits and making the good bits look even better, and, titling and all of this sort of stuff. So if you're a one-person show doing your own videos, then it's about spending a bit of time preparing for it. So
Mm-hmm.
rather than just going, I'm going to do a video today and setting up your stuff and then, pressing go live or record and then opening your mouth and going, oh, what am I going to talk about again? And then, you know, I see these people do this, and I work with people like this all the time, particularly higher level CEOs. And, you know, they're true experts in their field, and they're very, very busy. And it's like, no, you know, I'll be fine. Just set everything up. Let me know when you're ready, and I'll come in and be fine. And so they come in and they sit down, and you know, 3, 2, 1, go. And then it's like, well, you know, today I wanted to, and if I'm thinking about, and it takes them 30 seconds, like a train, to get a head of steam up and go get all their thoughts aligned. So the thing is, if you prepare and think about what you want to talk about and the point, that's what I always say, is like when you can express the point of your video, the point of the message that you want to share in one short, sharp, clear and concise sentence, that's when you know that you're ready to start recording. Know what that point is, and you can then go, okay, so what can I say that's going to grab attention and hook that viewer, my ideal client, in from the start? So get them to stay for 3 seconds, and then I can give them something else that will get them to stay for 10 to 15 seconds. And then once I've got them, if I can get them past 15 seconds, I can get them to stay to my call to action. And that, you know, that's when you're connecting. That's when it's worthwhile. That's when it's valuable. So I was speaking to one of my older clients today, who's, you know, since moved on and is very happy with her life. And she was saying that when she first started doing video, and she was doing them from a car because the light was good and it was easy because she had, you know, a few minutes while she was waiting to do school pickup or drop off or whatever. And she chose that path because, as you were saying before, Michael, it's a case of doing them and doing them frequently. And then she started to realize, once she was getting a bit of feedback from some people, that perhaps she'd be better off sacrificing quantity for quality. And so, and that is my point, and my answer to your question is, don't sacrifice it completely. Just spend a bit more time preparing.
Yeah.
And do quality. And the other thing that I know for myself, and it's what I teach, and I see it myself every time I think, oh, look, I've been doing this long enough, I don't have to look, I'll just, you know, I won't worry about it. I end up doing multiple takes, or my 2-minute live ends up being a 5-minute waffle. Is every minute that you spend preparing and getting sorted and getting clear up here will cut down the length of time it will take you to present your message in your live, or the amount of takes you have to do if you're doing a pre-record. So it's like being a painter is, you know, 2/3 of it's good preparation, and then, you know, the final third is doing it. And
right.
Yeah, it'll save you. Definitely saves you.
Wow, that is amazing advice. And Sue, and anyone that's watching, if you're interested in being amazingly prepared, there's a link scrolling across the screen where you can get Sue's mobile framework for being prepared for your video. That's bit.ly/M_O_B guide. And then, so just check that out. It'll be in the
join my Facebook group, and the guide's in there. And there's also a like a 20-minute video in one of the units that is a training companion to the guide as well. So it just gives you the basics. So if you're doing it, you can at least start doing it the right way, and then sort of build your confidence from there and go on.
Yes. Both of those links are gonna be in the comments once this video is over, and so you can click in them and enjoy those and join her group. She's amazing. Sue, I don't know if you realize this. I'm on my laptop, but when I posted live in your group to introduce myself.
Into my group, yes.
Yes. My laptop was much lower, and you recommended that I should be like eye level with my camera.
Yeah.
And now I am like approximately eye level because I put it on some boxes out from your advice.
Yeah.
And I don't know if
When
it
I'm
looks
doing
better or
laptops
not.
at home, I quite often put them on my one funnel away challenge box for anyone who's done
Nice.
the ClickFunnels challenge. That's a good height. But yeah, when it's something that I've said earlier in this live is the most important thing to initiate engagement, and the most important thing about doing videos, any kind of content, is to drive engagement, is eye contact. And there's a bunch of things that go into creating good eye contact, but one of the most important and the best place to start is with what's called your eye line, and that's the line between your eyes and the lens, which is essentially the way you look into somebody's eyes. And if you think about a face-to-face conversation with someone, it's great if your eyes are at the same level. Like, for instance, if you're talking to a child, we quite often, crouch down so that we're on their eye level, so it's not intimidating for them. So that's one of the things. If you going live on a laptop, elevate it, and if you're using your mobile phone, try and have it propped on something or on a tripod. Tripods are probably the best and the most important first purchase when it comes to equipment for creating good videos, so that you have that level eye line.
Awesome. I want to ask, so I'm thinking we'll be on for another 10, 15 minutes or so. And I would love it if you could share something that you see over and over again from your clients and from just people that you work with or people that you see, that you would just be, you can give them a quick, oh, it would be amazing if you just shifted this one thing or these two things, and that would make a world of difference for their video.
Okay, so it would definitely come down to eye contact. So what you mentioned before, elevating your if you're broadcasting from your laptop, is elevating it so you've got that eye line. It doesn't. What happens if people, and let me demonstrate, because I've got my laptop on a box right now. So let me demonstrate just one moment. The demonstration is always great.
Yes, I love the demonstration.
And so now,
oh yeah, that's
you can
way
see the ceiling. So from a subconscious and unconscious level, the viewer watching, it's like I'm being squashed down, and it's off-putting on an unconscious level. It's just not quite right. It's closing in on you, and it's closing in on me. Also, my eyes are half closed, and I'm looking down at you. So it's not a very nice. It's not a welcoming. It's not a comfortable kind of a feeling to be looked down on. So that's probably one of the most important things. So, and one of the easiest things to change. So I'll pop it back up on the box now. So it's like the before and after. And now, you're not seeing the ceiling so much, and it's a level eye line, so we look equal. My eyes, you can see all of my eyes. And the reason that the eyes are so important is humans are visual beings, okay? So we assess our environment completely from the data that we absorb with our eyes. Animals, it's usually scent and their hearing, but for us, it's eyes. And it's how we, ascertained friend or foe from days before we'd even created a verbal language to communicate within our tribes beyond grunts. Is we could tell by looking at someone whether we were safe or not, and that ability is still there. That's why we can process and determine so quickly whether we want to watch a video or read a bit of content on less than a quarter of a second. Because that's how quickly the brain processes and determines, attraction factor. So that's why that eye contact is so important. And what makes video so powerful is that it's the next best thing to a face-to-face conversation, because the person watching can see you and they can connect with you and they can determine whether you're their kind of people or not, and whether you're being authentic or full of horse crap. It's Very, very powerful thing. And if you do it well, it's probably the number one element of video that can change your life very, very quickly.
Wow.
So definitely the eye contact. And the thing that drives me crazy is seeing people doing videos with their sunglasses on, you know. It's like if you're having a face-to-face conversation with someone, it feels weird if they've got their sunglasses on because you can't see their eyes. The other one is when people use auto cues because they want to be word perfect on their delivery. And when they're using auto cues, it looks like this. And you know that they're not looking you in the eye. So it's like being in a face-to-face conversation with somebody who's looking over your shoulder at someone else. Or, you know, looking, you know, the freckle at the tip of your nose. Or you know, it's just...
Yeah, or someone looking like right above your eyes and you're like, yeah, what is that? Yeah.
Now, auto cues are amazing and I work with them in television land, but they're very different to the type of auto cues, the apps that are screened on the phone down here while the lens is up here, or you know, and it takes skill and practice even in TV land to be able to know to follow briefly the words as a bit of a safety net on the auto cue while at the same time communicating through the lens. And that is something that is very difficult about mobile video is, you know, even a webcam lens is this size, and on your phone it's barely more than a pinhead, really. So
yeah, well,
so
that's what
they're skills that will make a big difference.
So when you're on your phone, what, like, should it still be at that kind of eye line with the camera? Okay.
Always.
Okay.
And as we know, there's quite a few little holes, lenses on the camera, plus, you know, the ones at the back. So what I get people to do is you just put your finger over the different lenses, and then while you're looking at it, and then you can pretty quickly determine which is the lens you need to be looking at in order to get the good eye communication, the good lens communication.
Right. Awesome. Well, that's an amazing piece of advice. I want to ask you, is there anything that you wish that I had asked that I have not asked? Is there anything that you want to share with people who are going to be watching this or listening to this?
Okay. Doing video takes a great deal of bravery, and I salute you for it, because it's the one thing in the world where we get to review ourselves in all our glory in hindsight. When we look at ourselves in the mirror, it's real time, and then we're gone, you know. And then we're gone. Whereas if we're reviewing video, and we have to review because that's how we get better at anything, you know, we have to look at what we've done, look at our performance, whether it's, you know, baking a Sunday roast or a game of golf or making videos or singing songs. We have to, you know, we have to review, see what we did well, see where our weaknesses are. And it can be very, very off-putting, as we are, all of us, our own worst critics. So I always say, is like, if you wouldn't say it to a friend, don't say it to yourself. Now, that's not to say that you can't be honest, but always start with something positive. It's called appreciative inquiry. And if you start with something negative, you actually shut down receptors in your brain that, you know, puts you into a slight amygdala hijack where, you know, nothing's gained. It's just shut down. So it's a case of trying to find something initially that you liked. Was the light good? Did you hit your message well? Did your hair look great? You know, just something that you can start with that's positive, and then work from there.
Yeah, I love that.
Well, maybe, yeah, you know, maybe my background could be better, or maybe my wardrobe choice didn't pop as much on camera as I wanted it to. You know, then you can sort of become a little bit more, look for the areas that need to be improved. So don't think about it as being a criticism. You're not critiquing yourself, you're reviewing your performance. I like to call them director's notes. So you're doing a director's, giving yourself director's notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I was actually, thank you for sharing that. That is incredible advice. I was talking with my coach yesterday, and we were discussing a couple things, but it came up that there's two different ways of looking at something that's not amazing.
Mm-hmm.
There's like the old way versus the new way. Like the old way is really, really bad, and this new way is going to be better. Or there's this old way is amazing for exactly what it is. How could this become more excellent? And so it's very much along the same lines. Yeah.
And that is exactly what I'm saying about video is like, if you've been doing it, awesome, you've got an audience. Because come the end of this year, if you haven't started it, it's going to be so hard. You are going to have to start because the bar is going to be so high. If you haven't started already and started building an audience, you are going to have such a good setup to start attracting an audience. You're really making it hard for yourself. So the old way was great and it got you to where you are now. But if you want the next level, then this is what it's going to take.
Yeah.
And if you want to know more about that, I'm going to be holding a masterclass in a couple of weeks. Haven't set a date yet, but it'll be 2 to 3 hours of what an engaging video looks like, how to make one, and then, a Q&A session at the end of it.
Awesome.
Just put that out there.
Yes, put it out there. And then if you want to hear more from Sue and interact with her, you can join her Facebook community. It is popping in there. I'm in there too.
Yep.
And she is giving away value all the time. You can post your videos. She'll give you powerful director's notes. Exactly. And Sue, I just want to thank you for being the amazing individual that you are and just being a real, just sweet, amazing woman. So,
well, I was going to say right back at you, but then you added that bit at the end about being a sweet, amazing woman. And I thought that's
you can call me a sweet, amazing woman. I'll take the compliment on. I'll take it.
I love you. Oh, dear. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a lot of fun and I just love my song.
Yes, good. Anyone that's on here, if you're watching, go ahead and drop a hashtag live. If you're not watching, go ahead and drop a hashtag replay and go ahead and join Sue's group. Grab her mobile guide and just connect with her because she is going to be hosting a masterclass soon. And it's going to help you to create amazing, engaging videos.
Engaging videos. Because remember, content might be king, but engagement is queen and she rules the house.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, not my saying. Mari Smith, who is a bit of a legend in the Facebook marketing world, came up with that particular saying, but it's
a good thing for sure.
Engagement is queen.